You can show what you want on social media, and that is great. And I think there has to be an element of fake it till you make it, because in my eyes, it's affirmations. You are going, this is me, I've earned this, I've done this, I've been here, I've bought that. You're putting it out to the universe. You can portray that on social media to an extent, but you can't fool yourself in the real life world. And a lot of people do. If you are gonna give it the fake it till you make it, I'm flying here on this, you're drinking someone else's champagne at their table thinking that it's you. If you're grafting, you'll get there. And that's why I think the element of fake it till you make it is fantastic on social media, and it can be a double-edged sword as well as a good thing, in my opinion.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the Need to Succeed podcast. Like I always say, this podcast is designed to understand the mind of successful entrepreneurs. Because here's the thing, there is a mindset for success. Because through the exact same situation, and one person decides, because of this situation, they can no longer achieve the things that they want to achieve in life. And the other person, because of the exact same situation, decides that they absolutely have to achieve everything that they've ever wanted to achieve in life. Same situations, different. Is the mindset of the successful individual. That is exactly what we look to uncover on this podcast. And today, we have an absolutely incredible guest. This guy, he is the second half of the Tyrone Ash Luxury Real Estate Company. These guys have absolutely come kicking to luxury real estate in the UK. They are the leading experts. And my guest today is the number one luxury real estate realtor in the UK right now. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming Mr. Reis Ashraf.
I mean, what an introduction, even. That is fantastic. That's the best one I've ever had, mate. Thank you. That was good.
I cannot go into that as well.
I'm ready to go.
So I had to,
I'm about to come out.
Yeah, awesome, lovely. Bro. Honestly, thank you so much for gracing us with your presence. It's been an absolute pleasure. Been trying to make this happen. I know you're a busy man,
but you caught me before my little break to Mykonos. So
this is
I'm refreshed. I'm back in the game. I'm focused.
The best time then.
Yeah,
Let's
exactly.
make this happen. Let's make this happen. I'm super excited to get into this. But I told you earlier on, we've got a little tradition on the podcast. Mm-hmm. Now, there's just two set questions, which is the very first one and the last one.
Yep.
Everything else, we're just going to go with the flow.
Cool.
What does success actually mean to you?
What does success mean to me? I think, first of all, it's not something that has been consistent throughout my journey. I think if I was to look back on myself a year ago, could look to see where I am now, he would be like, you're successful, you've done it. Whereas now, my version of success has completely changed. So for me, I think the most important thing for me for being successful is progression. I think if I'm not progressing, I'm not successful. And that can be in many stages of life, whether it's relationships, fitness, career at work. But to answer your question, I think progression for me is vital. I feel that I'm at my happiest when I'm fit, healthy, no arguments with girls, family, and I'm progressing in business, most importantly. So I think everything comes back to progression.
Absolutely. I love that, man, because I can't remember where I heard it from. I think it was one of my mentors who said, if you're not growing, you're dying, right? And that need to keep progressing. I heard Tony Robbins say one time that, he's seen it all. He's seen people who have become billionaires, and then they say, okay, I'm going to retire now.
It's funny you say that because I listen to Tony Robbins a lot, Jordan Peterson, all these people, and Tony Robbins is one of the first. I think when you first go on the entrepreneurial route, it's like Google being entrepreneur, Tony Robbins pops up. I think he's the first person. A lot of what he said, I haven't listened to him in maybe a year or so, and I've been listening to him again recently, and a lot of his stuff resonates with me, and that's exactly what I resonated so clearly with. That it's progression.
Yeah.
And like you say, the most successful people, and whatever they may be, you could have super smart, successful entrepreneur, billionaires, and then they stop progressing, or like you say, I was going to say people that have been to the moon, but I don't really believe in all that. But let's say you make £1 million in a day, and then the next day you make you lose £10,000. Well, in your head, you're going to be like, oh my God, I'm not progressing. It's almost like a bit of a burden sometimes, your own success. I've just done, I might have been guilty of it. Start of the year, I had the best start to my year ever. I hit my yearly goals by April. Wow. I'd hit my financial goals by April this year. Wow. And I was a bit guilty of going, took my foot off the gas a little bit. And
going to Mykonos for 8 months.
For 20 months. But no, yeah. And I think you have to go through these stages, whatever your stage is. But if you're not progressing, and that could be as simple as putting down the vape. I think I was talking to you earlier about bad habits, about people vaping and stuff. The amount of people I see now, it's like, well, just don't vape. And you've improved on yesterday.
Wow. That is so true. And I also feel, I don't know if I'm reading it correctly, but I also feel like, success, the meaning of success can change for people as well. Because at the start of this, you kind of spoke about how, a year ago, other people might be looking at you and saying, hey, this guy's really successful. But actually to you now, the way that you're looking at that, the way you're defining it, is actually a little bit different because, maybe you've had this worldly success or how other people would define it, but to you, you're actually looking at it like, actually, you know what? If I don't keep progressing, if I'm believing this hype and listening to what these other people are saying, actually, I don't feel like I'm having success. So how would you define, maybe, how would you separate maybe what you thought about success a year ago to how you think about success now?
I think we was actually having a discussion, me and my brother and Russell were at dinner yesterday, and we were talking about the goals and, what's success for the company. I mean, we've employed some incredible new people to help structure this. And for us, success is building a legacy. And we hear lots of these. Look, a lot of people try and dip their toe in real estate, dip their toe in rents, dip their toe in this because they might be chasing too many rabbits, I like to call it. You should focus on something and become niche at it. So we hear about all these little agents who are trying to copy our model and all our structure and poach our people. We don't care about them. Our success is we want to be the number one real estate agents in the whole of the UK and in all the prime areas of the world. We're building a legacy. And I think for me, success last year was, if I told myself I had a Ferrari last year, I'd have gone, no way. But you almost get it and go, right, that's fantastic. And I do absolutely love my car, by the way, but that's not it. You're in Dubai and Mykonos and you look at these yachts and I'm going, well, here I am on this bed I couldn't afford a year ago, but that guy's coming on a yacht. So I think for me, it's not just about financial success, but it's kind of going, we want to build a legacy. We want to have a household name. I think I said to you the other day, I was at the boxing and I had three or four people come up to me on separate occasions and said, we love what you and your brother are doing in the industry. We love it. And we love your journey and, keep smashing it. And it's good to see. And I think building legacy is that something you can't buy. You look at some people that try and pay their way to I don't know how they want to do it. And, whatever, they might pay people to come on these podcasts and they don't want to be there. And it's like, you're trying desperately to be cool. You got the money, you're trying desperately to build that status, that social proof, wanting to inspire, and you ain't doing it. Unless you're going through the journey and people can relate to you and go, you know what, I fucking get what they're saying. I can relate to them. And that, for me, legacy is a big thing for us.
Yeah. Makes sense, and I can definitely see that in the way that you guys are making a splash in the industry. It makes sense, and being authentic to who you are as well, which is very important, very unique. Of course, it's good for branding, but actually, authenticity means you can never really sell yourself short because and you can never forget the things that you said. What are your values? Because you're being authentic. So it's like, this is just who I am anyway, right? So I can definitely see that in what you guys are doing. But let's just take it back a little bit just to understand, because listen, you didn't just get a Ferrari out of the blue, right? This is we know how much Ferraris cost.
Ticket, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Listen, even raffle tickets, you don't put Ferraris in them. You might get a little iPad or something. So let's just get to understand you a little bit more, because I feel like it's in the journey of understanding, where was this person and how have they come to, have a car that's worth more than houses.
Yeah.
Right? That doesn't happen overnight. So, but let's just understand, who was Reis back in school, for example?
Back in school, I was very good at sports and PE. So I was the jock of an American film. You can imagine. Wasn't like dumb or anything, but would leave early, captain of the football team.
Yeah.
Used to flirt with a lot of girls, all that sort of stuff. Always could apply. Every school report was could do better, could do better. That was sort of me. I was never kind of sneaking off, smoking and getting in fights, that's probably Ty. I didn't have tough boots to fill, following Ty. Like, he was causing havoc. I was just, he made it easy for me. Like, I was the golden child. It wasn't even difficult.
There was no need.
He was off doing whatever. But no, for me, I was always kind of focused on being a footballer. So I was always getting good grades, but never like focused on anything. As soon as it turned 16, I left to join Coventry City as a scholar. But apart from that, I was always liked by teachers.
So when you say as a scholar, what do you mean?
So I was at Coventry from the age of 13, and then they offered me a 2-year scholarship to try and get a pro contract. So when I left school at 16, I moved to Coventry, left home. So I left home quite early, matured quite quick.
Yeah. What was that like leaving? So when you say scholarship and pro, you're talking about football, right?
Yeah, soccer, football. Okay, yeah.
Brilliant.
So
okay, cool. So through your talent, you're able to get a scholarship to go to Coventry.
Yeah.
And you left home at what age?
16.
At 16, yeah.
So when I was younger, I was actually, when I first joined Coventry in my second year, I was actually playing up front with Dan Sturridge for 2 years. Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah. He didn't do it back then. No, I was going to say, he didn't do it back then. But I was playing up front with him for a couple of years, and he was unbelievable as a youngster. Like, I was shit hot, but he was leagues ahead of me. Like, if I was scoring 4 goals a game, he was scoring 10. Wow. I'm not even exaggerating. And his parents handled it really well because they've been involved in football, and they actually, gave my father a little bit of advice on how to handle me as a youngster and stuff growing up. But yeah, it was tough because when I was up until the age of 16, I was the best footballer around, like easily. And you get to 16, 17 years old, everyone catches up with you physically, and they're quicker than you and stronger than you. And I didn't understand how fit and healthy you had to be as a footballer. I had no knowledge. I was down in protein shakes before football matches, thinking I was doing good, wondering why I couldn't fucking run around. Like, had no knowledge about anything. But it was a fantastic journey, and I ended up going and playing for MK Dons for 6 months, where I grew up in Milton Keynes. And I was at the Glen Hoddle Football Academy, where I was always technically unbelievable, but I think I really lacked the physical understanding how physically fit you had to be. And I'm in my mindset, if I had my brother's aggression with my ability, I'd have made it. Wow. I was too much of a pussy. Well, however you want to put it, however you want to word it. I didn't want it enough. That was my problem. And those people that I grew up with who got a better career of it than me, I was very luxury. I was like Dimitar Berbatov, you're 1-0 up. I'm doing chesting it down, flicking over people's head, nutmegging. I'm best player on the pitch. Yeah. 1-0 down, and you're looking for me to run a channel. I'm like, well, don't really fancy that. Do you know what I mean?
I'm in the centre. Just bring it here.
Yeah, to feet only sort of thing. And I didn't have that aggression. And I think that was always something that lacked. I was always a soft lad growing up. I'm not going to sit here and go, I've been to prison. I was, I had a nice upbringing. And sometimes that's harder because I haven't been to the slums. I haven't ate out of fucking rubbish bins and got in fights for drugs and had a drug addict. That's not my journey. I've had a nice upbringing. I think a lot of people can relate to that, going, you read all these things or watch these people that have been through hell. And I didn't go through hell. But then you put yourself in an environment. I think being an entrepreneur puts you through hell. It makes you go through that. You haven't got money coming in guaranteed. You kind of go in, where's my money coming in from? So, going off tangent there. Sorry.
No. It's fine. I've got 2 questions, but I want to just touch on the topic what you just spoke about, because that's one of the reasons why I've got a lot of respect for Eddie Hearn. He is my favorite promoter.
Yeah,
he's actually 100%. The best promoter.
He's great.
But I just also like him as a person because, and he speaks very openly about it, right? Talking about being born with a silver spoon and his dad and all this sort of stuff. But like, I understand that difficulty. I'm on the other side. I grew up really, really poor and all that sort of stuff. But what I can see in someone like that is, bro, do you know how difficult it is to outdo? Like, it's easy for me to outdo my dad. Do you know how difficult it is for Eddie Hearn to outdo his dad?
Yeah.
Do you see what I'm saying? And having that in your mind, just thinking like that's the motivation, and everyone already thinks, oh, I'm soft and I've got this sort of thing, and it's like innate motivation. It's not like you're going hungry. It's not like you haven't got nice cars in the drive. It's not like you haven't got like a big house. So it's like you have to have a different level of internal motivation to really be able to compete with, someone like myself who's like, I need to feed myself.
Correct.
Right? So I actually really, really respect that. I understand, I've had a couple of guests there in that similar situation, and I completely resonate with it because I've heard Eddie Hearn talk about it so many times. I'm like, you know what? Fucking hell, that is really, really hard, actually. So I really respect that. But the question I was going to ask you is, at the age of 16, you're creaming everyone, from 9 years old, everyone just, I'm top dog. Like, I'm banging in goals, all of that sort of stuff. But you get to 16, all of a sudden, like, competition is tougher, right? How do you deal with that as a 16-year-old?
It was tough. I mean, my dad and brother were always honest with me. They was at every football match, and I was still doing really well. But I mean, I was always top goal scorer from the age of 13 to 18 at every club I was at. And it's another question where why I never got a pro contract anywhere. I was discussing earlier with you. You don't see many Ashrafs, any Muslim surnames on academy footballers. Well, when I was playing anyway. And there was times where I remember at MK Dons, I was top scorer ahead of a well-known player there who was there at the time on a pro contract. And I'd done half a season at Coventry and half a season at MK Dons at second year. And I was top goal scorer for both teams. For MK Dons and Coventry City, played half a league at each, and I didn't get a pro contract anywhere. And I had my friends sat outside the MK Dons Academy office when they were going to give me a pro contract. And I remember walking out going, they haven't given me it. And they're like, oh, shut the fuck up. How long did you get? 1 or 2 years? Like, no, they're not giving me it. And it was like you could hear a pin drop. And it gets.
What's your opinion on that?
I don't know. It's quite difficult. I mean, I know I lacked some certain ability with physical wise, but as a player, there weren't many players who could do what I do when I was a youngster. I was very good. I was scoring goals. I was doing my job as a striker.
Michael Owen's pretty small.
Yeah, exactly. But it's kind of like one of them things where it's kind of like at that point I was like really like hurt from it. That was when it hit home.
Yeah.
I know when I was at Coventry, a new manager come along, started dropping me for a 15-year-old, and you're like, what's going on here? Do you know what I mean? I thought that's a bit right. Let me go somewhere else. And it got to a point where I was just kind of thinking, why is your face not fit? And I've been invited to play in these Asian-only football leagues when I was about 24, because my name was quite reputable at the time in football. And there's some bloody good players in there. And I don't know if it's how they're being brought up in the game, whether it's the family or the culture, whatever it is. But there's a lot of good players there that I don't believe are kind of getting through. And at the time, my dad, you see my brother, you've seen how direct and honest he is. My dad isn't far off. So when they're telling me you're good enough,
you're good, yeah,
and you ain't, it's kind of like what gets to a point where you lose a bit of fight. And I wasn't aggressive anyway. So you can imagine my aggression was sort of there, and then you get knocked back. And in the end, I just wasn't hard enough. I didn't want it enough.
Yeah.
And I think that's the main thing is I don't think I wanted it enough. And I had a bit of a tougher journey than most people.
That's interesting. I don't know, bro. I think you might be being a little bit difficult on yourself because I agree with you. Like, there's no where the Asian players, like Asians. The one thing I know is of Asians that I've played with is they're just really skillful.
Yeah.
Mad skills, like
it's like boxing, isn't it? Yeah. Hand speed, like
yeah.
Unbelievably technically boxers.
Yeah. So I mean, listen, I don't know what it is, but for me is if we can see those talents at the grassroots level, why is that talent not sort of making it through?
Exactly. And that's where I don't know if it's falling down on cultures of families or if the names and the face isn't fitting. But who knows? I hope one day that we have an amazing might be my son one day coming through. You never know.
Bro. It's inevitable. It is inevitable. Cool, man. Okay, cool. So how do you deal with that then? How do you come to, because I'm assuming as a child, we're talking Coventry, we're looking at MK Dons, like, these are big teams, right? So obviously you had this ambition of, being in the Prem, lights, glitz, glamour, all of that. When you start slowly getting your confidence knocked, how are you coping?
That's hard. It's hard as footballers, is that, I was the dog's bollocks at school. I was well known in Milton Keynes, and then suddenly like coming down and down and down. And I think my last break was at Glen Hoddle Football Academy, where it was my last ray of hope. And he took all these released footballers to Spain. We were the first year that did it. I was 25 out of 300. It was an unbelievable experience. Got to play with Glen Hoddle as our coach.
Wow.
Playing all these B teams of like Jerez, Barcelona, Sevilla, playing the B teams, loads of scouts coming and hopefully buying you. And that never worked out. And I was playing Conference North, and it's like, I remember I went to this away game. I was played for Leamington Spa, who were quite a good conference, Northside. Actually, I enjoyed it there. And it was Tuesday, didn't come off the bench. And I got home at 2 a.m, and I had to get up for my plumbing course in the morning at 7. And I was like, this isn't for me anymore. I was like, I'm done. I just woke up as I ain't playing again. So I needed a career.
Wow. Yeah.
And that's why I take my hat off to people like, Jamie Vardy, Ian Wright, who stuck at it when they're in their mid-20s and life's going by. But for those that don't, it's tough. And it's important that you not have something to fall back on. But if you know you're not good at it, it got to a point I was like, I ain't going to make it now. And that was when it was kind of like shit hit the fan. And I was like, right, I've got to have a career. I can't mope around. I remember playing FIFA and sitting around in my boxers for like a week, after it all happened. I'm sure we've all been there.
Was there popcorn?
Yeah, popcorn in my belly, flicking it out, and the controller went dead, whatever. But got to a point, and then I got into a trade. That's all kind of didn't really have any grades, didn't go to university.
Wow. I mean, the fact that you were, you already were actually taking a plumbing course, essentially you'd already switched off because you'd already told yourself, I need something else, right?
Well, I had, I used to love my WWE, a little bit off subject, and I was watching this documentary on Stone Cold, Steve Austin, who was like amazing, one of the most famous ones ever.
Yeah.
And I hear it's such a common story. Like Tony Robbins says, you can't have a plan B. You've got to burn the boats.
Burn the freaking boats.
You've got to burn the boats. And he said he was eating peeled potatoes and tuna cans for a month. And then he run out of tuna cans. He had to ask his mum to send him $40. And she was like, when are you going to get a proper job? He goes, no, this is what I'm doing. I'm going to be the best, whatever, how you want to, number one wrestler in the world. And he was just so committed to it. So yeah, you're right. I'd pretty much not burnt all my boats at that point because I knew I needed a plan B. And I think when I see people who are after residual income, and I'm like, what about your fucking active income? Stop looking for residual income and fucking work now. Like, get to work now. Residual is something that comes in time when you've got money to kind of invest. Oh, let me buy a house. Let me put my money there. But until you get some money, work about active income. If you can earn 200 quid in 4 hours, we'll do 12 hours a day. Don't worry about residual income. And I think it's important to burn the boats if you're going to go all in. And we say to people that join the company, unless you're going all in, you can't do this half-assed. You dip your toe in the water. It doesn't work with anything.
Yeah. Listen, that is very, 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 very powerful. I talk about it a lot, because of the world that I'm in, the coaching, consulting world. And there's a lot of people out there talking about passive income, and it does do my head in. It really, really pisses me off because, for me, you're trying to sell someone this vision, this idea of how they can earn passive income, which essentially means you're sitting on your ass doing nothing while money is just coming to you. But it's like, you have to hope and pray that you've worked hard for a long enough period of time to put yourself in the position where the income then becomes passive. But a lot of the people that they're trying to attract are people who've got another job.
Yeah.
How can you make more than you're making in your job right now that you're working 40, 50, 60 hours, but it's going to be passive? Doesn't make sense.
They play on people being lazy, but people that are lazy with big ambition. And it's like, I remember listening to this thing. Everyone wants to be a beast until there's time to do what beasts do. And it's like, everyone wants to know, I got passive income, I got this here. And then people go, yeah, I could get you some passive income. Just give me a couple of grand here. And I'll, and then before you know it, you lost $2,000 and feel like that was a load of shit. Property doesn't work or rent doesn't, all this stuff because you've tried the lazy approach. It's like, talk to super successful people when that have grafted and got your money working for you, but you've got to have money first. You can't have your money work for you if you haven't got any money.
Absolutely. And listen, you've hit it on the head there, 100%. So yeah, I resonate with that completely. I know exactly what you're saying. Cool. So now you're learning how to be a plumber.
Yeah, right? Yeah.
So obviously now you're like, I'm done. I'm not coming up at 2 a.m. in the morning, sat on the bench or flipping weekend, and now I've got to wake up at 7 to go and do a course that I'm viewing this as now my future. So, how does it, because now you're a luxury real estate agent, right? So what happened? What was that gap between being a plumber to where you are now?
It was about 11, 12 years actually.
Wow.
And I remember my apprenticeship, I was on £2.50 an hour.
Big money.
Big money there. Ferrari money, that. And I was cleaning out shitty toilets and the shittest job, lagging lofts in the summer. That means like covering the pipe. So in the lofts, in the summertime, lofts go like so hot.
Yeah.
And you'd have all the shittest jobs as an apprentice. And it's like, I was on all the shit jobs, and I was like telling myself. But when I grew up in Milton Keynes, and there's no real disrespect to anyone there, but it's a good job, a plumber, good money, a plumber. Everyone's like, oh, good job, that, good money, that. I'm like, it's not bad, but you fucking have to earn your money. There's nothing like, I was in Dubai not long ago, and I closed a deal in the UK on the phone, like sat having, it's quite a good thing. Still a bit hard work, but you have to earn your pennies being a plumber. And there was times, I remember when I started off, got my qualifications, got my level 2 plumbing, my gas qualification, so I was gas safe registered. And I used to go door knocking on letting agencies. Hi, what I do now in property. It's so funny. And I was like, whatever you're paying them, I'll do it cheaper. Just give me some properties to look after. And I remember the first job they gave me, it was about 6:30 on a Friday. And I was like, right, I'm taking it on. I'm so happy. Get there. And she goes, what's the plumbing issue? She goes, oh, it's my toilet. I was like, maybe it's leaking or something. No joke. It was brown shit up to the lid. And I was like, and it was and it was winter as well. It wasn't like, it was dark outside. I was like, I can't do this. I was like, I ain't doing this. I walked out. I was like, I can't do this. I was like, what a fucking first job. I know the answer you wanted me was to stick my hand in there and pull it out, but no, I couldn't do it. And I was like, I thought you were gonna say. Yeah, no, I couldn't do it. But and that's kind of how it all started. And you soon get thick skin being in that industry where you do I did most other jobs apart from that, but I drew the line at fucking sticking my hand in someone's shit. But anything else, I was game for it, and I was driving all over the country. And then you find out that you finished the job, and you might have put made a few holes, made a few grubbiness or whatever, and they try and take 200-300 quid off a job, and your margins are so small as a plumber. I was operating on around 10%, and it's not a lot of money. You think like, I've done fucking 100 grand, 200 grand, you're on 30-40 grand a year. And it was really tough. But in the end, I ended up buying a house, renovating it. I had a couple of vans on the road. I had a nice Mercedes. I was doing okay at that time. So everyone in that small town of Milton Keynes, it seemed like I was doing okay. And then obviously what happened was, it was start of COVID and Ty come to move into my house because he was living in London by himself, and I had a 4-bed house with a gym at home. Having the gym at home at COVID, you were like worth what you weight in gold.
That was it, mate.
That was the flex. And he come and move in with mine. I just bought my Mercedes.
So who's Ty?
Tyrone Ash, in case you didn't know, my brother. I'm sure you've seen his funny videos all over Instagram, the king of real estate and all that. And he was always asking me to get involved in it. I was like, I'm not a salesman. Even my dad was like, Reis will never do it. He's not a salesman. He's not like you, Ty. Ty was born with like the chat. I always say he's a lot more eloquent than me, but more people like me than him, so it balances out. But and I remember he was like getting into real estate. I was like, no, because I was doing well. I was on about 40-50 grand a year. I had a car. I was doing okay but there was I was comfortable.
Milton Keynes as well.
I was comfortable. That goes a long way. I'm telling you. I was going out when I wanted to, buying the odd pair of designer trainers, and I was cool. So I don't need to do that. And he goes, oh, it's a nice car. He goes, I've just put a deposit down on a Lamborghini. And I was like,
Sorry?
I was like, yeah. And I was thinking, I was doing the calculations about how many boilers you got to do to get a Lamborghini. I was like, it's not fucking adding up. So I started incorporating that in lockdown. I started training. I was watching Jordan Belfort courses online on how to speak with tonality, with body language, the straight line theory about closing from A to B. I was like, I want to be like that. I'm one of these people. And what Ty said to me was, he goes, everything you've done, you've always been the best at. So I was never wanting to be a plumber, but I earned a fucking good career out of it. Football, I was always at top of that. I mean, I played golf as well. I went from 18 handicapper to a 5 handicapper in 2 years. It's like unheard of. Whenever I get my head on something, I'm like, I've got to be the best. And it's the same with this. Yes. And it helped a lot with having him close to me, mentoring me through the whole process. But with sales, you can't fake sales. And you get I remember I went to meet up a lot of my old school friends and family friends where I grew up. And one person had a negative comment he goes, oh, nice Ferrari. Did your brother buy you that? And I'm just like going, out of it, I go, yeah, mate, I got to pick the color I wanted and everything. I make a joke. I ain't going to fucking, I don't give a shit. But I'm like, people have to reason with themselves as to why you've done well. It can't be because you've actually worked hard and got the money yourself. People have to reason with themselves. But no, it helped me having him mentoring me. It sped up the process. I was addicted to being the best. And, you know, in my second year, I was leagues ahead of most people in the company, to be honest. With
Why is that? Why is that important? Why has being the best important?
Because I'm not a part. I'm not a what do they call it? A bit part character. I like to be the main event, and it's not an arrogant thing, but I feel like I feel like I have a presence when I walk into the room. I'm not 6'5" and whatever it is. I'm quite a normal looking guy, but I feel like when I walk somewhere, I have a presence. I think that's important because I think, again, going back to success, social proof is important. Status is important. I've been sat around tables with multi-millionaire, billionaire people, and they're sat going, they're itching to go out and spend time with me. Should we go to this restaurant? Or should we go to this beach club? Should we do this? Now, I know I've got a good status. And for me, it has to come with everything. That comes with your fitness, your health. And I'm just come here to make up the numbers. I'm not here to be a cheerleader. You know, the fact we've gone on, you know, like I said, we've launched in Dubai now as a company. We're absolutely smashing it out there. We've got 20 agents working for us in Dubai that Ty's leading, and I'm now leading the whole of the UK charge. Wow. So we've gone from him mentoring me to me and him at the front of the battle line going, come on, world, let's fucking have it.
Wow.
You know what I mean? And and I'm so grateful that for me, it's important that I'm so grateful for everything that, you know, my brother's done on this journey, because I do owe a lot of it to him. And now for me, I think someone said to me going, you know, he was always be the millionaire before you were. And I was like, if I can help him get to 10 million and I get 10 million a year after, I'm more than happy. I'm here for him on the journey. It's not about me. It's about our legacy.
These people that you're around, you need to
it's more trolls. It's more trolls. Yeah.
It's very, very weird the way people think sometimes, right? Because like, you're right. When people are, you know, throwing shades at you or whatever it is, it's more about the deficiencies that they have in their lives. It's more about, you know, the things that they are unable to achieve, and they want to project that towards yourself. You know, so someone talking about you having a Ferrari, or did your brother get you that? It's just so inconsequential. Even if you thought that, why would you verbalize that, right? There must be like a hole in you that's lacking, because no one who's doing well in their life, who's content with their life, will be focused on what's happening in your life. Right?
You've got to feel empathy towards them. And I remember Gary Vee always says that when people are sour towards me, I mean, some of the comments I get are so funny. They literally like comment on my videos like, "You are a bell end." And I'm like, it's just, I'm just like, what? Even if you think I am, just keep scrolling. Like, what? Just leave me alone, man.
Why are you following me?
Trying to eat my chicken and rice. It's hard enough as it is. But yes, some of the comments I get left on some of my posts are hilarious. Like this one guy's like, I'll tell you two actually. He's like, "You're a bell end, mate." And he puts the bell symbols in case I didn't know what he meant. And I was just like, right, you can't hate me that much to just stop what you're doing and, you know, stop reading to your daughter, stop helping her with her homework to type that. And another one I actually laughed at was on a post I did about bank holidays and calling everyone lazy bastards in this country because everyone's so happy about having a bank holiday. And I'm like, and I said about we're going into a recession. Why are people not working? Like, I love working. If I'm not on holiday, I'm like, I just want to work. I don't know why you wouldn't want to work and earn money. And that was my video. But I was swearing and I was a bit pissed off. And then someone says, when this is Andrew Tate from Farm Foods or something. This is about 5-6 months ago. And I was like, all right, that's quite funny. And I replied like, that's quite funny, mate. And he got like 50 likes, I think, his comment. So if it's tasteful, I love it. I'll
play with it.
Yeah.
But you know what though? You're gonna get that. Listen, you're gonna call out people like that. No one likes to, because you know. Look, when people are not satisfied with their life, if I heard something like that, for example, and let's say I'm in a period of my life where I'm unproductive and I can feel it with myself. When I heard that, like the shot that would give me, that's almost like a slap in the face.
Yeah.
Like, you need to get your shit together, bro. That's the way that I would react to that, right? But when you're in a position where actually you don't want to do that work, you know what this person's saying is true, but you're like someone calling you on your bullshit is difficult to take, right?
Yeah.
And I think ultimately that's why you get that reaction, because let's be honest, was the percentage of the population who would want to work on a bank holiday?
No, none of it. They'll love it, don't they? And don't get me wrong, it's quite funny because I did a response video, and I was like, look, didn't mean to ruffle up a few feathers. I was just saying how I feel. Anyway, I'm off to the pub for a pint with my mate now. I'll catch you in a bit. Like, like just trying to wind people up. Yeah. So got to play the game with it a bit. Yeah. But no, I've got quite good at getting attention in the right way. I think even when I see lots of people like who have good information to say, I think just we're talking about boxing and Samuel Leeds. I think what he's fantastic at is grabbing attention first, delivering knowledge second. Because if you just concentrate on delivering knowledge, not many people are going to get your message.
Yeah.
And I think there's a lot of people out there that if you do understand how it works on social media and play the game, I might be sat in my Ferrari with the roof down. Because I know people are going to be like, fuck it. That 5 seconds you've bought me, now I'm going to talk about something that you probably want to listen to anyway. Do you know what I mean? And it's kind of like, you got to play the game a little bit. And it's kind of like, I've got a good understanding of that at the minute. So it does come with a bit of hate, but I'm all for a tasteful joke as opposed to, I'm going to come and beat you up sort of thing.
It's really important. And the truth is, like, you got to think about life in general. Even in your normal day to day, maybe 50, maybe 70, 80, 90% of people like you. There's over 10% who don't. It's just a reflection on social media, but obviously social media, you're dealing with a much higher number to start with, right? Like if you're having success, not everyone's going to like you. Even if you're not having success, it doesn't matter what you're doing. People are not going to like you anyway. So
I think social media is fantastic and it's not at the same time. And I literally was talking to someone about this the other day. You can show what you want on social media. And that is great. And I think there has to be an element of fake it till you make it, because in my eyes, it's affirmations. You are going, this is me. I've earned this. I've done this. I've been here. I've bought that. You're putting it out to the universe. You can portray that on social media to an extent, but you can't fool yourself in the real life world. And a lot of people do. I'm here. You don't get me wrong. There's been a few fake it, make it to posts. I'm sure everyone's been guilty of it in the past. But you know what? I back it up with effort behind the scenes. And it's important that if you are going to give it the fake it till you make it, I'm flying here on this, you're drinking someone else's champagne at their table thinking that it's you, it fucking ain't you if you're not doing fuck all behind the scenes. If you can graft behind the scenes, that will come. And it's no different to putting an affirmation, to believing into reality. But too many people, a lot of like your Love Islanders that blow up and then they kind of fall back off because they've got no money, they've got no clout left. And they're just going to these, they're trying to drink off other people's tables at these clubs, and they were on Love Island 2 years ago or whatever. They're not grafting behind the scenes. If you're grafting, you'll get there. And that's why I think the element of fake it till you make it is fantastic on social media, but you get found out very quickly when you're in social environments or if they see you're not actually putting the work in. And it can be a double-edged sword as well as a good thing, in my opinion.
Wow. So that was really powerful. I was just listening to you, just going, yeah, just keep talking, bro. Like, that was not very, very powerful, because it's so true. There is, and I'll talk about affirmations, I talk about, goal setting and all these sort of things, and visualization. You absolutely need all those things. But again, the way that works, the way manifestation works is only if you're putting the work in. You can have this vision and these goals and all these affirmations, but if you're not doing the work in the background, which is kind of what you're saying, then none of that's actually going to come to fruition, and then you are just delusional.
And if you think about, Olympic gold medalists, and if there's, I don't know, let's say javelin, for example, I'm sure all the countries in the world, I bet there's 200 people with the goal of having a gold medal. So goals aren't that important. Everyone's got goals, but it's about how you do, like, Mike Tyson says, doing the right things every day with a smile on your face and doing it to the best of your ability is difficult. And when people come into the real estate industry, I talk about this because I know it. You will do 3 months and see nothing. I promise you, that's normal. But when you're used to doing work, getting money, being a plumber, fixing your toilet, getting money, doing your accounts, getting money. In real estate, you do work, you get nothing. You do work, you get nothing. You do work, you lose money. Fucking hell. Then it comes and spikes up. And that's what I'm saying, is that's the difference. And affirmations are great. Goal setting is great. But hard work trumps it all. Even if you have no goal, if you fucking make 100 calls a day, you will beat the guys there going, oh, I've got my affirmations. Oh, it's 11:11. Make a wish. Do you know what I mean? Like, come on, let's fucking stick to the facts.
11. Signs of the zodiacs.
Yeah.
Let's talk about real estate then. Let's talk about property. What's going on with the property market right now?
I mean, it's tough at the minute, but it's good because I feel like good agents are succeeding and the shit agents aren't selling things anymore. And I think it's a good time for, if you do have a house to sell, to pick an agent that actually has a strategy and knows what they're doing. When it was the stamp duty holiday and you could put a house on the market for any price, and it would probably go above that, and it would sell like that, and you'd have 40 inquiries. Well, now it's not like that, but we do have motivated sellers on the market and motivated buyers. And it's about educating them to see how they can take advantage of the market that's ahead of them. Instead of looking at what they could have had in a very high-end market, dealing the cards you're dealt now and actually taking advantage of what looks to be a gradually declining market. I haven't got a crystal ball, but as long as rates go up, affordability comes down, rent prices go up, house prices are going to gradually come down. It's a seesaw effect. But England will always be one of the most well-respected countries in the world when it comes to real estate, and it's always all eyes on London, I think. So it's a tough time, but I think as long as you educate the homeowners, the buyers, that we're still doing deals. We're still recording fantastic months for sales and exchanges as a company.
Incredible. What do you say to those people who are really panicking right now? Maybe they are just residential buyers as opposed to no. I think you guys do mainly with residential as opposed to buy to let, right? Is that correct?
Correct. Yeah.
So what do you say to those people who are, panicking right now? Maybe they bought the property a couple of years ago. It's coming up for, the mortgage is coming up for renewals.
Yeah, it's almost like I spoke about it. I said I feel a bit sorry, and I'm usually don't give a shit about anyone, but I actually feel sorry for most of people in the UK because we went through COVID. There was a stamp duty holiday. They were giving us money for nothing. It was almost like, fucking hell. Like you're drinking from the chocolate river of Willy Wonka sort of thing. It's too good to be true. Go out and maximize yourself on these new houses and 1.5% mortgage rates. And 2 years later, we're going to come and fuck you and put the rates up to 6-7%. And you've only got a 3-year fixed variable and you've got your wife and kids and you're looking at the bank statements, the money coming in. I had a buy to let that it went from like £500 to £850. And luckily I sold it on the last month of my fixed rate. So I got lucky on that. But what I'm saying is, I think we spoke about it off air when, 2 million people that are coming up to their variable being done in 6 to 12 months.
Yeah.
So a lot of people that I don't know what the market's going to go to house prices wise, but if you are one of them people, you can't bury your head in the sand. And it's one of them, if you know that you bought at a bad time and you've taken a price hit, your wife's got pregnant now, she's not bringing any income in, these real life problems that people are facing, you are better off selling, cutting your losses and going into somewhere where you can take advantage of a declining market and go, right, you know what? We are up to our eyeballs here. We've got to get out before it gets a big problem. And there's going to be repossessions coming up. We are going into that market.
Yeah.
We're not there yet. We're not at a distressed market yet. I think by this time next year, we'll be looking at anything. I think you said you've seen reports of 40%.
Yeah.
I hope it's not that bad. I think around the 10% mark in a year isn't unrealistic.
Yeah. I love the honesty, bro. I love the honesty because, the truth is there's going to be a lot of pain over the next couple of years. And only those people who are really able to look at this objectively, understand the situation they're in, are going to be able to at least make the best out of a bad situation. Like sticking your head in the sand right now is not the solution.
If you've got 6 months left, that's going to come around quick. You've got to look at seasonal occurrences in the market. Well, it tends to go the market's a bit quieter than it was a year ago. And then when it comes to December, January, well, not many people want to move house around Christmas time and New Year. So suddenly that 6 months isn't 6 months anymore. It might be 3 months. Speaking to people, having financial advice from, those that can give financial advice and not matey boy down the pub after he's had 10 pints telling you what to do. Speaking to people about what your house is going to be worth, what you can buy, and how you can actually take advantage of maybe a declining market and getting out of a situation you're in now. It's all relative to your own situation. I mean, we've seen a lot of buy-to-let landlords that have sold their portfolio. We've actually sold 4 in the last 6 weeks.
Wow.
where they're selling it at a discounted rate as a bulk buy, for example, because every single one of them has said to us the same thing. I feel like I've made my money in the buy-to-let market now, and it's time for me to enjoy my money or to go and invest it somewhere else. Wow. Now we've taken two of these landlords to Dubai to look at investing with us over there. They're flying out in September, October time to look at diversifying their investment in property. You know, property shouldn't just be England. You know, if England's going through a bit of a time where prices aren't as fantastic as they are, why not go and diversify somewhere else and get knowledge in another field?
That's incredible. So this is just for the audience, and this is the precursor to another question, right? So this you mentioned you guys have sold 4 different portfolios, not 4 properties, 4 portfolios, right?
Yeah.
In the last 6 weeks. Who were the people who were buying these portfolios?
Hedge fund, mainly hedge fund in the UK.
Okay.
And we did have one international buyer who already had their money in the UK and actually liked the area in which they were buying the property. So one of the portfolios was in a cluster in a desirable area of London.
Yeah.
And what was appealing for them, because they were very cash heavy,
yeah,
i.e. cash is king in a buyer's market.
Mm-hmm.
What was key for them, not necessarily the yields as much, was we had to do our GDV values on them being sold as individual houses.
You can't be focusing on yields in London.
Yeah, no, that's the wrong thing. Yeah, exactly. That's what I said to him. I said, because he bought another one in Nottingham for like 8-9% yields. I was like, you ain't getting that here, mate, by the way, just to let you know. So what we did was we did a GDV value on the properties if they're sold individually. He purchased them at around 12% below GDV value with a cash purchase within 6 weeks exchange. So expedited searches, no real surveys, you know, just pretty much not a blind buy, but he was getting them below 12% below value in a market where we could argue it's 10% lower than it was maybe 18 months ago. So when the cycle of house prices come back up, he's not necessarily looking to get any return ROI yet, but he knows when house prices come up, he's probably going to be in for about 20% profit.
Absolutely.
The landlord's made his money from his rent, might have cleared whatever if he's done it correctly with his not getting too slapped on the wrist with capital gains tax. He had done it all correctly with all that front as well. So yeah, both parties were happy basically.
What do you think about the government blaming, landlords for the current crisis we've got in the market at the moment?
I mean, my dad's got a lot of properties. I say a lot about, a few properties in Milton Keynes, and every 4 weeks he's dealing with having to evict a tenant for not paying rent, or a tenant leaving the house in an absolute state and spending at least 20 grand on a renovation. Now, for me, when I sold my 2 properties that I had, I was seeing that tenants are getting more power with regards to their rights. And I feel like it's just because I've grown up with the landlord side of things. I've seen the stress that my dad, I said to him, I said, why are you doing this for 900 quid a month? I was like, why are you here trying to deal with tradesmen that aren't turning up, clean up rubbish that tenants have left in it in? You're 2 months in arrears as well. You've paid £600 for court cases. I'm telling you that I'm renting at the minute in an apartment, but I've seen firsthand landlords have not got it easy. And I feel that more and more, I feel like the buy-to-let market is spent. I can't really see anyone investing in property on a buy-to-let front unless they've got a portfolio of houses they don't have mortgages on. Anyone that's got a variable on a buy-to-let mortgage now, your margins are going to be so fine that I just don't think the juice is worth the squeeze anymore.
Yeah, 100%. And you spoke about your dad, 900 quid a month. What people don't understand is that's £900 revenue.
Yeah.
We're not even talking profits.
No, exactly, yeah.
And yet people, I'm like, how do you want to begrudge someone for making a couple £100 a month from an asset that they've invested tens of thousands of pounds into? And that's the bad guy. Like, it makes no sense to me.
It's exactly true,
But just kind of going back to, the main point I wanted to make was, and I'm glad you're here because only someone like yourself could have actually, teed it up this perfectly because, you sold portfolios, you're dealing with hedge funds, and perfectly sits with my point, which is I don't think people really understand the deep, dark truth behind the government's blaming landlords for all these situations. Because the corporates, Lloyds, these hedge funds you're talking about are now becoming the largest landlords in the UK. Lloyds Bank is the biggest landlord in the UK. They're looking to build 50,000 units over the next few
Wow,
years,
didn't know
right?
that. Yeah,
This
yeah.
is ridiculous because guess what? You're squeezing landlords, you're making the profits much, much smaller, but Lloyds do not care. They can buy 50,000 homes and only make £100 profit every single month on it. But to them, that's just cash flow. These guys don't care. They can hit that. A landlord actually needs to make some money because they're just like you and me. That extra 400, 500 quid coming in is actually going to make a difference to them. And they're actually going to be a better landlord. When it's just a corporate, when there's no face behind your landlord anymore, and it's just a contract on paper, then people are really going to feel the pain.
I think it's just about having universal control as well, because I think we touched on it earlier. It's almost like they're trying to set I don't know who it is or what it is, but call it the Matrix, whatever you want to call it, is trying to have this universal, everyone on the same page. Everyone has the same right. Everyone lives in the same houses,
Same
paying
income.
the same income, same rent. And it looks like it's all trying to lean that way. And I really hope it doesn't, because, when I was a plumber, them two houses were my nest eggs, because I didn't have a, what do you call it? When you retire?
Pension.
Didn't have a pension. Oh, you've got to have a pension. You've got to have a house, and if you haven't got a pension. So suddenly all these things that you've got to do. Oh, you've got to buy a house. You've got to get on the property ladder. Well, I spoke to a friend of mine not long ago who was forced to get on the property, not forced, but pressured by his family, telling me that, he's really struggling to make ends meet to pay the mortgage now. And he can only earn X amount a month. And thought he was doing the right thing. And he come to me like, I'm really struggling, mate. And he wants to get into real estate, but he can't financially make that change over from his profession because you need a financial buffer to do it. And we're talking about, just going off subject, sorry, talking about how he's, wants to maybe date a girl or something, and he hasn't got that much disposable cash each month. So he doesn't really want to start dating anyone because he can't do what he wants to do and stuff. And it's kind of like, I feel that they're just trying to make everything even for everyone so that there's no arguments. And modern day, I call it modern day slavery. I really do. You're not getting fed bread and water with a roof over your head. You're getting the same fucking shit income and the same shit, whatever it is. And you're all on the same level playing field. That's what they're trying to do.
100%, bro. And the worst part of it is that we are begging for it. This whole new system that's trying to come in, universal basic income, you don't have to work, you don't have to have any motivation. There's no need for drive because we're all living the same as like a communist system. Funny enough, my missus classes herself as a communist and I'm a staunch capitalist. So imagine that household, right? But it's going to be interesting for my daughter anyway. But yeah, it's crazy to me where I feel like the world is going. But more importantly than that is where I feel like the way the government is leading things and using narratives to get the public support, but the truth is, what's behind that is going to be a whole lot worse, in my opinion. But hopefully we can see it through.
Yeah, and I hope that it's an eye-opener for people to really lean the other way and go down the entrepreneurial route. And whether that's real estate, whether that's, rent to rents, whether that's being a personal trainer and being massive on Instagram and having online clients and being smart about whatever way you go about it, it's more important than ever, because I also believe if you're not making money from your phone wherever you can in the world, you're missing out on a massive trick. You're missing out on huge business because everything can be done on our phone these days. And if all you're using it for is TikTok, Instagram, and, whatever, you're doing it wrong. And you're going to just kind of let the world dictate to you. You've got to take control of the world. And that's going to start by getting up, going to the gym. I know you're probably sick of me hearing saying, but getting up and doing something you don't want to do. Because when you do keep doing that and they hit you with, by the way, there's universal credit for anyone that works at Lloyds, the NHS, firemen, whatever it is, because that could be the next step. Well, you want to be in a position, go, right, I was expecting this. I can get out now. I'm going to get out. I'm going to go set up my own company doing this. I'm going to do this. And you've got to take control of your own situation. If you just sit there and watch the world go by because life's a little bit tough, you might have a 2-year get out plan, but make that plan. Don't wait because it ain't getting any easier. I say to people that go, oh, you know what? I might take my house off the market for a year. What, you think it's going to be easier in a year? Like, it ain't. Like, deal with it now. Better the devil you know. Deal with it now and, get a plan together.
100%, man. But people always say the grass is always green on the other side, right? But the truth is, as we know, it's not always that case. Okay, cool. So how do you actually see your business then in the next, sort of 12 to 18 months? because we're all going through it, as we, spoken about, we're currently in a buyer's market, but you guys have to do with that, especially the luxury end where we're talking millions of pounds, right? So anyone watching this right now thinking of getting into property or maybe doing some sort of real estate, how are you guys looking over the next sort of 12
Well, it's
to 18
fantastic
months?
because we see a lot of the big boys that have been around for 30, 40 years are extremely dated. They're all 30, 40 grand a year. Maybe the director or manager is on more and gets slightly more, but none of them are bringing home more than 100 grand a year. No one. And then when you're on PAYE, you can soon reverse engineer it to see how much actually netting each month. And it ain't a lot to see compared to what the potential you can actually be earning. We do all the training. Me and my brother are training you on everything from how to prospect, how to negotiate, how to list, how to do an open house. We just come off a training session today for 2 hours with the company, teaching people how to educate their homeowners on market reviews, on where their property sat in the market. What are they doing to move? What's their next move? How can they take advantage? Having these head-on conversations. We're not like these other. So that's like where the old school boys are, where they are now. And then you've got these new people that try and do these like American models. Like, I'm not going to say any names, but they don't support you. You literally sign up, pay your money, and they go, "Hi, I'm powered by this company." And you've got no support, you've got no network. Each agent operates by themselves. I said, we operate as a hub, as a network from up into Manchester all the way down onto the South Coast. We are a hub, we're a network, we share our network. Everything is done together and everything we do compounds. So everybody wins. So you've got the beauty of a brand, but you've also got the beauty of a self-employed role where you can, if you join tomorrow, you could go, by the way, we've just sold this around the corner, because it's our company that's done it and it gives you credibility. We want millionaires in the company. We want everyone driving around in supercars, going on nice holidays, whatever you want to do. I mean, I've got a little stick for it, wearing nice clothes, doing whatever it is you want to do. But we want everyone doing that. And we know it. We've got the formula. We've got the chocolate cake. Here's the recipe. Put it in the oven for this much. Sprinkle this on it. You'll get the chocolate cake. But it takes a lot of hard work. We were discussing yesterday again, we've got about 30 or 40 agents now that are on the brink of pushing through. And we're going through this tough market. We've put a lot of money into the launch in Dubai, restructuring the company. We are going to level up unbelievable amounts. All these people that think, yeah, it's all fake. You can't fake it. You can't fake a Ferrari. You can't fake a Lamborghini. You can't fake all these trips abroad. You can't do it. And we are going to take the world by storm, and we're going to be the number one luxury real estate agents within 18 months. We're going to brush all these dinosaurs to the side. And when you speak to people that deal with us, they'll tell you we're knowledgeable people. We wear our heart on our sleeve and we live and breathe this because we're on big commission splits, no wages. And we want to get your house sold for the most money. So then we get the most money. We're all trying to get the most money. And it's good because in England, so I'm going off on a tangent, but in England, it's been so dated for so long. 1% agents are everywhere. And you wonder why agents don't want to do deals with agents. In Dubai, some developers are doing 8%. If not, the secondary market in Dubai, buyer pays 2%, seller pays 2%. You will work with an agent in Dubai. I've got more friends as agents in Dubai than I do in England because everyone hates us in England because they think we're twats. Don't give a shit. We're here to take over. And all the best agents are coming to join us now. We're getting inquiries from well-known estate agents with their top performers asking to join our company now. And we knew this time was coming. And the takeover's coming, I promise you. I'm getting pumped up.
Wow, that's what I was literally just watching you because it feeds in perfectly into my final question, right? But like the passion that you just spoke with, then when you spoke about the vision of the company, first of all, from a leader of an organization, that's very, very powerful because when everyone else sees that passion, it ignites something in them because they, okay, cool, well, he means that shit, right? And if he means it, I want to be part of a winning team because clearly they've got this vision to really go far. And that's lit a fire under me.
If you don't want it, we don't want you here.
Yeah.
Like we've been streamlining the company now. The people that think it's I do real estate in your bio on Instagram. No, you are real estate. You got to live and breathe it. You got to be doing deals in your head as you're asleep, or we don't want you here. Do you know what I mean? Like, you've got to live and breathe it.
Yeah.
We can't take over if it's only 3 people out of 100 that want it. You could have 100 warriors, that scene out of Game of Thrones when there's only a few of them there and the whole army's coming around. That's us. You know what I mean? You got to want it.
Yeah, listen. I love that. I love that. I love that. But bro, honestly, you guys have achieved so much, right? You've achieved so much. You're going from your BMW,
Mercedes. It's all right.
going
Yeah,
from
yeah.
your Mercedes, to the Ferrari. You've done it now. Success now for you is about progression. It's not really about the monetary value because that has now come. So the final question is, with everything that you've now achieved, right, and the business is achieved, what remains your need to succeed?
My need to succeed on this. I think because I feel that I don't want to ever look back and have regret on what I did. I said, I know where my vision is now. I know that the need for it is, it's all set out. I said, we've made all the changes. I know what my new goals are. And it's something that I think it reverts back to what I said before. Everything I do, I have to be the best at. I need to be by far the number one real estate agent in the UK and eventually in the world one day. You see the names like Ryan Serhan and all these, and Matt Steinwade in Australia, all these amazing agents. And I aspired to be them. And I thought I'd put my head down for a year and I was quickly up at the top. And I thought, well, now I need to be so far ahead, leading the charge for the company. I want to inspire people. It gets to a point where there's only, okay, you can get richer and richer, but I think when you get over 10 million mark, I think I heard Andrew Tate say, you can pretty much do what you want. And I'm not there yet, but what I'm saying is money, the monetary value goes, and the need is to inspire and lead the charge. And I think for me, just seeing other people coming through and, looking after your family, like me and my brother do. We try and look after our mum and dad so much in everything we do. It's not just about me and him. We're not selfish people. We look after our mum. We've moved her down here to where we are to be close to us because she likes being close to us. It makes her happy. Even if she's just coming round to look after my dog or whatever, she's close to us and she's happy. And we did that. And it's nice knowing that you can do that. And people don't see that side of things. It's important to know that the need is deeper than a nice Gucci bag and a car. It's not. The need is to inspire and build legacy, in my opinion.
Wow. Reis Ashraf, thank you very much.
Been perfect. Cheers, mate.